Today, I will show you how to mix your own browns using complementary colors and then a value scale of each one, perfect for painting skin tones. If you love learning about art, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a weekly tutorial. You will need a paint palette and a blank piece of paper, sketchbook page, or back of a canvas, anywhere you can experiment with these colors. You need primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and you're going to need white. I'm using Blick acrylics, and I'll put a link to my materials in the description box. First, I'm going to mix red and yellow to create orange. And the basics of this video is mixing color complements, so colors that are directly across from each other on the color wheel, together to create a neutral, then adding white to create a series of skin tones. So first you're going to need to mix your secondary color, and then you're going to mix the color complement. So orange and blue are color complements, and mixing them together equally should create a really nice brown color. So I like to kind of mix it up and then test it. Keep in mind, certain colors will be more dominant than others, so you might have to play around with the colors as you go. This looks pretty orange, so I'm going to paint it and see. Yeah, I think I'm going to add a little bit of blue to that. There's nothing wrong with this color, it's just super warm, so I'm going to see if I can balance it out by adding a little bit more of blue, see if that can give me more of a equal brown. You can see the difference here. It's not a big difference, but it's enough, and so this is going to be my darkest version, and this is a great way to mix browns without having to buy them. Yes, you can buy browns, you could even buy your secondary colors, but since this is a color mixing video, I am sticking to the basics. I'm then going to add a little bit of white, and I'm going to create a value scale creating tints of each of the three sets of neutral brown. Since I'm just dipping it slightly in the white, and I'm going to try and mix the whole well of paint, that little circle there, so it gradually gets lighter, lighter, and lighter. So these would be really great for painting different skin tones. You can see how adding just a little bit of white can really change the tint, and that's a base color added, or with white added, it can really change the tint and create a variety of neutrals. There we go. That's a really pretty one. And I'm just going to continue the value scale until it gets pretty much as light as possible. So I'm going to try and do at least 7 values. Sped things up a little bit. I didn't mix all of the color because I was having a hard time changing it. You'll see me do that the next time too. Dip my brush in white and see how I'm only mixing a small amount of paint. That's a trick if your color isn't changing or getting lighter, just mix less of it. You don't need a whole bunch, especially if you're just practicing. So this would be a very effective skin tone because you have some really nice, rich, darker values, and then you can get super light when you have, depending on who you're painting and what the lighting situation is. The next pair is red and green. So first I need to mix my secondary color, which is green, and I'm trying to get a nice kind of balance. I don't want it too blue-green or too yellow-green, and keep in mind, depending on what set of colors you're using, it's going to affect the overall outcome. So for example, I am using Blick acrylics, and this is ultramarine blue. So if you did like Prussian blue, or you had like a Viridian green, your colors are going to be completely different. So anytime you're using a new brand of paint, a new set of paints, you want to experiment because color is very nuanced depending on the brand and depending on which actual color you are using. This neutral, I could play around with it a little bit more. I feel like maybe it could use like a little bit more blue in the green, because you can see it's definitely a different neutral than the one I created before. So I'm going to play around with it a little bit and see if I can get more of like a more natural looking brown and less of that, like, you know, kind of pukey green color. So this one is interesting. I think I like the first one more. And again, I could try a pre-mixed green, a different blue. All those things will determine and change how these colors will be used, or how the final effect will be. I'm gonna go ahead and add white, and I'm gonna speed things up since you've seen me do this before. Same value scale, just a slightly different color. You can see this one definitely has yellow undertones to it, and I'm just gonna mix white directly into my vat of paint here. Because I'm doing all neutrals, I'm not washing or cleaning my brush each time. Just be aware you want to definitely clean it after you do each different set of colors. So this is very yellow. I feel like I should have played around a little bit more with that base neutral, and it could just be the green itself. If I used a different blue, maybe I'd be more happy with the results. That one looks a little bit better, a little bit more of a natural color. But again, you would find this color in nature. Even if it's not the right color for skin tone, it's still a beautiful kind of neutral color. And another trick, if you want to mix a brown, is mix all three colors together. You won't see me do that in this video, but if you mix red, yellow, and blue, that's another way to create brown. So that's a trick if you're not buying brown yourself. Mix your primary colors or mix your color complements to create a beautiful neutral. Okay, let's move on to our third and final set of complementary colors. Finally, yellow and purple is our last set of complementary colors. And so purple or violet is going to be our secondary color, which means I have to mix it. So I'm gonna take this fire red, that's what Blick calls it, and then I'm going to mix it with ultramarine blue. So again, if you use magenta, if you use a different red or a different blue, this is going to be different based on the brand of paint you're using and the actual paint pigment that's in that brand. So you'll come to find favorites if you paint a lot, color combinations that you really like. Ooh, look at that yellow. I should have cleaned my brush after that. And I'm mixing these two together, and I already know I'm gonna love this because I just love that color combo. It's gonna be a really rich, beautiful kind of violet brown. See how beautiful and rich that is? That's just such a pretty color. And now it's time to repeat my steps and create a value scale of tints of this neutral combination of yellow and purple. I did speed things up, so if it looks like I'm painting fast, I sped the timing up, and I love that first tint. A lot of times I've noticed young artists or students are scared of brown. They want everything to be super bright and saturated in color. And I think learning how to mix your own colors, having control of them, and not just relying on buying a tube of all your colors really will elevate and give your own stamp in your artwork, make your style really stand out, and give you better control of your color scheme. So this is a really beautiful set of colors. I can think of lots of different things I could paint using this set, landscapes, and definitely skin tone that has a beautiful kind of violet undertone to it. And now that that first value scale is drying, I really like that yellow combination as well. That one that I had, the green that I struggled with. Green is a really hard color to paint with, by the way. I do a lot of landscape painting, so sometimes I get really mad at the color green. It's so beautiful, but it can be really difficult to control. So I'm getting a lot of really good tints with this one, and keep in mind that you can also try this where you're mixing the red, yellow, and blue as well. Really, I should have done a fourth value scale and played around with that. I just didn't think about it until I was doing my voiceover for this video. So I think I'm pretty much done. I'm gonna try and get one more really light tint, and I really could have kept going with all the value scales. I just kind of ran out of space on my paper. I'm not gonna add shades because adding black to this color combination is really tricky, and I wanna keep, especially if you're doing skin tone, I wanna keep my colors really pure. So I would try and rely on just that dark value I created at first for my darks. So here's just the finished result, a value scale of all three color combinations that are complementary: red and green, yellow and purple, and orange and blue. This is a great way to practice painting, and if you're looking how to make your own skin tones, I highly recommend trying this out. Thank you so much for sticking around and making art with me, and if you're interested in more painting tutorials, check these out. Find me on Instagram at thatartteacher_Machado, and find my website, thatartteacher.com, for full-length lesson plans and student examples.